Final assignment of the semester. I've been loving this brands and branding class. Here is my brand revival on Barnes and Noble. Luckily, a brand that I'm somewhat familiar with because you can usually find me there looking at the newest stationery that they have. Some of them have dogs on it. Don't judge me. But also usually getting an Asiago cheese pretzel from the cafe. So I luckily got to dive into more of a brand that I already know of. So we will get started. History. Barnes& and Noble was originated in 1873 by Charles M. Barnes in Illinois. They were known as the world's largest bookstore, still are, especially in person, but online they're having a little bit of a tiff, which we will talk about later. They feature books, games, they have cafes, paper crafts, boutique products, journals, coloring books, you name it. If it has something scholastic to do with it, it is definitely something that is probably featuring in Barnes and Noble. They are also the originators of the Nook, the e-reader and tablet. We'll talk about competitors with the Nook later, but it was one of the first of its kind where a reading device where people could check out books, look at books through the app that Barnes and Noble had created through the Nook app, and so it's been really popular for many years now. So it's one of their greatest assets that Barnes and Noble has because it's a unique product to them. They also, I have noticed, have an online, well, I've bought from many times their online store. It's Barnes and Noble online, and they have branded themselves as the world's largest online bookstore. So the whole reason we're looking at this brand is to give it a little relaunch, revive it a little bit because it's not doing so well. It is struggling to deliver brand growth, increase foot traffic, sell more digital goods. Their Nook is also on the verge. It is declining. People are buying less of it. They're accessing the app less. We'll talk about, again, competitors a little bit later. They have been struggling to differentiate their brand from online competitors, and we'll touch on that as well. They have already come up with, their CEO has already came up with a couple of solutions, some temporary, which I actually want to expand on later. They have their online bookstore, as I mentioned in the last slide. They also have their perk-centered membership program. I was a member, and you do get a good amount of a discount on their products online, but also at their cafe. So I always thought that was kind of nice. You could get coffee on discount as well as the books that you were wanting to purchase. They introduced new products, so they have a huge department, especially the ones here in Lincoln, of new games and boutique products. So new stationery, fun cards, things that you can usually get from a boutique, little sayings books, brands on positivity, that kind of thing. So now they're also opening the door to those products as well. So why are they not doing so hot? I would attribute largely to their top competitor, which would be of course, Amazon. So Amazon provides large books and product sales online. Obviously, their membership perks are honestly vastly better than what Barnes and Noble is currently doing, but also with Amazon you can get so many other products, so it's kind of, why not sort of thing. Less expensive books and products. I know even my book for this class I got off of Amazon, so because it was cheaper and it was in great condition, so I got it off of there. Amazon really features convenience and immediacy for families that can't get out and go to the store, places people that really need something really quick with 2 day shipping or something of that sort as well. Barnes and Noble has been really battered by Amazon. It has incurred huge financial losses from failed attempts to carve out its own territory, especially with their ebook and their Nook. As you can see, their competitors are the Amazon Kindle and the Apple's iPad. I have an Apple iPad, and I too, that's what I get my reading apps off of, and I read on my iPad, but I'm moreover one of those people that has to get something in hardcover or books. Sales of their Nook has fell more than 22% since 2016, with device revenue falling 6% and content sales plunging 28%. So it's obviously they're struggling with that just because of, new products. They were one of the first, so now they're getting the competition from others. So, transitioning to target audience and insights, what makes Barnes and Noble so special? So, I decided to carve out three main audiences for Barnes and Noble. One being college students, other ones being young family, and then I have retirees. Reason I included retirees in the more elderly age range is because the many a times that I have stopped in Barnes and Noble, that's usually demographic. It is a mix between college students, retirees, depending on the day or the time of day. It's usually young families as well. So I kind of drew off of research as well as what I actually see when I go to these stores. Insights, I truly believe that Barnes& and Noble is a family brand. I know they are this mega bookstore, but they are also a family brand. They are a home-like store despite their large size. When I go in, I never really feel overwhelmed. They have recently started to sort their products, especially their books, by category for consumer convenience rather than alphabetically. So they're definitely trying to cater to their consumers and what their consumers want or what is, most readily available for them. I think that they have their unique cafe and bookstore combination. So the cafes are obviously a huge added bonus because you can get something to drink or something to eat. Check out a product that always creates, a consumer loyalty, knowing that you can try out what you want before you actually have to buy it. So I think that their focus on family or their focus on, selling their products to the right people, as they would say, their target audiences is kind of a huge thing. So this brings me to my rebrand. So I have decided to keep the logo, keep the colors. I think they're very inviting. They're very subtle colors that can span across all three target audiences, which I believe they have: retirees, college students, and young families. But I decided to create a little tagline, a little incentive: knowledge, creativity, and togetherness. Because knowing Barnes and Noble, knowing the brand, they want to harness knowledge by their books, by their products. Also creativity. I'm going to talk about some events that I think that they should put on later that are really based on creativity. Creativity to me also spans from very young ages to also elderly ages, so I think that that's really important. And togetherness. I am all about relaunching Barnes and Noble as a family brand, as a together brand where you can come and collaborate, be together, that you can truly focus on, the impact that the brand actually has on you as a person, you and your reading habits, your family, the things that you teach others. It's really all encompassing, so very in the togetherness spirit. I would like to do a year-long campaign. I think it's really important to harness the holidays because those are usually a huge peak time, especially for Barnes and Noble, to increase their foot traffic and their consumer purchasing power. So a year-long campaign would encompass holidays, if they had new technologies, products, books being releases throughout the years, so definitely give them time to focus on those things through the consumer events that we'll talk about here in a little bit. I think that they should focus on consumer development through the products that they sell. So the products, meaning, the self-improvement products, the products that are based on religion or they're based on self-worth, even books that are just inspiring, those that are heart-wrenching. I truly think that focusing on the consumer and how they felt throughout the product, throughout actually reading or going, having a relationship with their product, focus on that. I wanted to become a community destination. I believe that they've already tried to increase some of the efforts with this to create more of a community atmosphere. So I believe in creating personal development events. Come in, let's do, have consumers do a self-help kind of event, neighborhood events, advertising in neighborhood magazines. We'll touch on that as well. Classes based on topic of interest interest in local communities, especially even for that retiree audience, is really important to focus on, the interests that they have. Obviously, they probably have a little bit more spare time based on what they're doing. Reputable keynote speakers, and ultimately all of this, I believe, will create foot traffic into stores, increase overall revenue. How are we going to do it? It's a great question. So I chose a little alternative route than I probably would for other brands, but traditional media, using postcards, advertising and community newsletter, college-wide publications and posters. I think that would go really far for the college community. Cafe advertisements. I kind of drew from this through some community events that I had actually put on and or advertised when I worked for a nonprofit art center, who this was kind of our main concern here, was getting more traffic, also creating that family feel. So I drew a lot from past experience on why this should be executed. But then also, of course, kind of spanning to the newer ways of media, social media. I believe that Barnes & Noble needs to create a more family-oriented communication base with their consumers, not just, hey, how'd you like that book, but, oh, that made you feel this way, maybe hiring a few interns based on where they're at, specific to each location, maybe even having someone on site that can talk to them, talk to consumers about the products that they bought, why they bought them, why they bought here rather than other places. They can also use social media to promote events and highlights, so highlights from the events, connect with reputable speakers, so connecting with them on social media, kind of showing, hey, we have a great relationship with so-and-so, their book comes out next month, come to the book reveal and let's chat about it or ask questions. Also, a new avenue I think would be really beneficial would be Facebook Live for consumers that are not at the event. This kind of would show that different communities that you care, that the brand actually cares about its consumers, even if they couldn't make it out. Obviously, having them make it out to the store is what's most important, but creating that camaraderie, having them comment back and forth, having someone kind of monitor that within the store with those that could not make it, I think is really beneficial. So mainly this relaunch for me was just to create a comfortable neighborhood in each bookstore. They have the cafe, they have the books. Obviously, they're competing with online, but I feel like since Amazon is such a convenience place, it is such a convenient brand, it is something that is sought out directly. I feel like Barnes & Noble can really be a store that is sought out to consume the more heartfelt consumers and products that actually mean a lot to consumers rather than something they just want on their doorstep. Tomorrow, it's something they want to be a part of, they want their community to be a part of, and they want to better themselves, their families, through going through, Barnes & Nobles rather than Amazon. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it for Barnes & Nobles. Here are my sources, and I will include my PDF as well. Thanks for listening.